Welcome to Retirement with Jim. So today, Social Security cuts and what you can kind of do to prepare for that, lessen the hit. So before we get started, if you like my channel, please consider subscribing, liking the videos, helps my channel grow, and feel free to leave comments. Love to know what you're thinking. So today, we all know that they talk about Social Security running out of money, and then the impending cuts that will come with that. But there are things you can do now, especially if you are going to retire and you haven't retired yet, that you can start to work on to help your situation. So the first thing is boost your savings. So even if you're, let's say for example, you're 40 years old and you've got $60,000 saved. Well, you're contributing, and you're contributing $200 a month either into an IRA or 401k plan. Well, if you increase that find a way to increase it by just $100 a month to $300 a month, do you know that would give you $674,000 at age 65? That's assuming that it's an 8% return on your portfolio. So when you think a little bit doesn't matter, you got to remember the ability compound interest has and what the benefit it really plays in helping your money grow. And of course, that means not touching your portfolio and don't take any money out. But if you are even taking a serious start at 40 and you can do $300 a month, then you really can put some substantial, over $500,000 in your bank. Second thing, be flexible where you live. So maybe you're living in a big city, which can be kind of pricey. Think about the possibility of relocating, to a cheaper part of the country, and or downsizing your house. Excuse me. So it's like where you live plays a big part in what your retirement life is going to look like. Excuse me, kind of hot out here today. So when you think about downsizing, so a lot of people, they want to hold on to the house they're comfortable with, they don't want to move, but you know what, you want to make sure you have all options on the table. Maybe living in a place that has a cheaper cost of living, can really play into an advantage of and your kids can always come visit you no matter where you live. And they make a road trip or they fly, whatever it may be, for the kids or grandchildren. But you've got to do what is in your best interest for you. And downsizing a house that is kind of big, that maybe you don't need as much, all that space, you think about what it takes to run that house, to manage it, utilities, gas, heat, all of those things. They play an important role and would be a big factor in deciding on maybe there's a better place to live. Just food for thought. And the last is continue to work in retirement. Now, for some people, they just don't envision, retirement as working at all. Can't blame them. But the fact is, retirement is different for everyone. And it's changing and evolving even as we speak. So working in retirement isn't necessarily such a bad thing. It gives you a lot of things. It gives you that social interaction. It keeps you with some steady income coming in. And maybe you have a job that is that you like and that you could turn into somewhat of a consulting job. And not all jobs are that way. And maybe you have a job that is just paid. It's just simply a paycheck. You don't love your job. You might, in fact, even hate your job. But then if that's the case, start early and start looking at what you can do to take classes, take seminars, venture off in broadening your skills so that when you do retire, you can go into something that you really kind of enjoy and still make some money at. there's all kinds of possibilities out there. You just have to go out and do a little bit of research, and start looking at, what can you do that will really benefit you. And making, some money on a part-time basis is not a bad thing. It's money to travel. You can pay maybe, with Medicare, we all have bills and stuff that we still have to pay our portion of. You can pay for your monthly B plan, that all of us have, a supplement plan if you have that, but there's a lot of things that that money can come in handy for. Use it to build up an emergency fund. Maybe your fund isn't that big and you want to really boost that up. A part-time gig can make you do a lot, help you do a lot of things. So, Social Security cuts in the final analysis, cuts are a strong possibility. We still think that they have plenty of time to be able to fix it, just like they did in 1983. But our political leaders will push that can down the road to the last minute. And it's fair to say that, they just don't want to touch that until they absolutely have to. I kind of firmly believe they will make adjustments and it will change. But if they didn't, you have to be prepared and you have to be ready to have a better situation. And a lot of it is making sure you're planning, you're preparing, so that you have a good, effective way to deal with that. So with that, I'm going to tell you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.